they played really well, but I still like our chances. I think we have the makeup to bounce back from these kind of things and put ourselves in a position to potentially come back here and play again.
Aaron, keeping hope alive. That bad man and his team just kind of bad last night. Meanwhile, Jimmy Garoppolo and the Niners embarrassed the Packers on Sunday Night Football, 37-8. Green Bay is 8-3, though. Our quarterback, Dan Orlovsky, in the house. Good to see you.
Good morning. Let's disagree.
Stephen A., did the Packers show they're not ready for primetime?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And listen, obviously, I'm not talking about that bad man, Aaron Rodgers, who was bad in an entirely different way last night. We understand that. But I think we need to pay attention to what transpired. They got their butts kicked. Plain and simple. They got beat up. And Max, to use a boxing analogy, I often like people, and just go to YouTube and look up a fight years ago that Max will start smiling the minute I bring it up. When Felix Trinidad went for the middleight crown with William Joppy.
You love that fight.
I mean, what I'm saying is, Dan, because the reason I bring that up is because Madison Square Garden was packed and the Latinos were everywhere and everything was hype. But Felix was moving up in weight against a middleweight. And when I tell you he destroyed William Joppy, I mean, it's been many, many years ago. And it would still be difficult for Joppy to walk the streets with anybody who knows who he is.
Joppy was a good fighter. You got to ease up on
He was a damn good fighter. He was a damn good fighter, but he got his butt whipped. I'm talking about walk through him and beat him. He didn't get caught with a punch. He got beat up. That's what happened to the Green Bay Packers last night. Now, Bulaga goes down, okay, and we understand that. And once that guy goes down, that compromises your protection. And you're looking at Alex Light, and then you're talking about that front four for San Francisco that get with Bosa and the crew. That they get at you. And what makes their defense so elite is that they don't have to blitz to pressure the quarterback.
Correct.
They don't need to blitz you to get to you. So when I see that Aaron Rodgers only threw for 109 yards, when I see that he didn't complete a pass for more than 10 yards, when I saw the absence of protection, certainly him fumbling on the opening drive, had that things just nosedive from there. We get all of that, and the bottom line is your star running back for San Francisco, Breida, he wasn't available. He didn't play the game, and still it didn't matter. Jimmy Garoppolo with his intermediate passes and what have you, he was solid. We get all of that. But this defense is where it's at. We could call it whatever it is. You could do that. I'll leave San Francisco to you. What I'm saying is this. Here's where I lose faith in Green Bay. You got punked on national television. And, oh, by the way, do I need to call the cops in Wisconsin somewhere and put an APB out for Jimmy Graham? What the hell has happened to him? I mean, this guy was supposed to be an elite. We understand he's not as elite as he used to be, but he wasn't supposed to be that bad. One catch for 7 yards, especially when you know Devontae Adams is really your only reliable receiver. Talk about Aaron Rodgers needing help. You got cats on the outside that can defend, cats outside the numbers. You've got to have a tight end to rely upon. What did San Francisco do? While Jimmy Graham was a complete no-show, clearly having disappeared, all right, from the spotlight in terms of his skill set, this kid Kittles might be the best tight end in football. It's between him and Travis Kelce. And one would argue it's him. This brother was gone for a couple of games. He's back. He was
Although some
special.
of those play designs, he was wide open.
I agree with that, but he's special. He's just a special, special talent. So I look at it from that perspective, and it's just my thinking. In the game of football, when you get pumped, when you get beat up, that's a problem for me. When we're talking about you being elite, we look at New Orleans. We can see them lose a game. We can see games that could be a little bit tougher. But you know they're a physical team, and what you're not going to do is steamroll over them without them having an answer. Green Bay got rolled, and that is where I lost faith in them.
Do you remember? I'll give you.
I think they're soft.
I'll give you another analogy.
I think they're soft.
Like, remember before in Rocky 3, before Apollo and Rocky had the little sparring session at the end that no one got to see. Remember, in that movie ended, they fought to see. Remember what Apollo told Rocky? He said, "I've taught you everything you know, but I haven't taught you everything I know." That's like kind of what Shanahan told LaFleur yesterday. Right? It's like I
actually like that reference.
Yeah, I mean, come on. He's a protege of Shanahan's, and what you saw was the difference.
Well, Papa Shanahan in the booth up there, that does hurt.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it ain't just Kyle. It's Papa Shanahan. I'm just saying.
But the point is, Shanahan is a seasoned, at this point, head coach who was a great offensive coordinator. Now he has a great team, and LaFleur is still finding his way. That and the way it manifested itself yesterday, you brought it up. It was just line play. Both sides of the ball, the Niners were nasty. You know, and Balaga, I always say Beluga, I always mispronounce his name, Balaga, but he can't stay on the field. You know, that's been the issue with him. They probably don't keep him after this year. But he's good when he's on the field, and those tackles for Green Bay are very good when they're on the field. But the line was completely dominated by a ferocious San Francisco line. You mentioned it, they don't have to blitz to get pressure, and vice versa. On the other side of the ball, the San Francisco line did a great job. I know Garoppolo was sacked, but he wasn't pressured. Like, he had time to do what he had to do. Games like this are going to happen. Now, based on what I saw, do I think Green Bay is ready for prime time if these teams rematch? No. The styles make fights, and this is a bad matchup for Green Bay. But if someone can play traffic cop with San Francisco, do I think Green Bay can make it to the Super Bowl? You look at the NFC, you don't see, like, I love the Saints top to bottom, but could I see Green Bay beating New Orleans in a playoff game? Yeah, I could. I could see them.
In New Orleans?
Yeah, even in New Orleans, yeah, I could see it. I could see Green Bay beating on any given Sunday type thing. You know, you get a bye and then you win a home game and then you're in the NFC Championship game. I could see it, but someone must play traffic cop
Dan,
with San Francisco. That is a bad matchup.
I feel like the question today isn't, are the Packers ready for primetime? It's, are the Niners ready for the Super Bowl? Is Jimmy Garoppolo the real deal?
Yes. Yes and yes. That's why the question is about the 49ers. It's not about Green Bay. Green Bay's got good wins this year. Minnesota, Philly, Dallas, Oakland, Kansas City, Carolina. They've got good wins. But being ready for primetime and being ready for San Francisco is a different animal right now. San Francisco's averaging a win by 3 scores. They've got 10 wins. They average them by 3 scores. They've outgained their opponents by 1,500 yards. A month ago, I was asked the same question about Jimmy G, and I said no. And then I watched the game last week when he doesn't play well, but he got the ball at the end of the football game. And it doesn't matter what happened before that anymore. You have to figure out a way in that moment to win the game. And he did last week. And he's playing really good. That's the best top 2 run game in the NFL. If you aren't good on first down against San Francisco, you're dead. The game is over. And that's what happened with Green Bay yesterday. If you're not really good on first down, 1st and 5, you better get 5 yards. If you're in 2nd and 7, punt. You're not getting the ball back. So, yeah, San Francisco's real. They can run the football. They can throw the football. They can stop the run. They can stop the pass. They can get after the quarterback. They got a head coach this season. Don't forget, Kyle Shanahan was in a Super Bowl 3 years ago. Like, we don't talk about that enough. Their head coach was in the Super Bowl.
What do you think about
3 years ago? So do I think Jimmy G's?
I'll deal with you with that in a second.
I got something for you too, because Jimmy G, is Jimmy G good enough solo? No.
Are we doing Jimmy G now?
No.
Because I have a question though, because you made a comment that I
we're going to be talking Jimmy G
disagree
later
with.
in the show.
Do you think that the Patriots are elite?
I think their defense is elite.
Do you think the Patriots are elite?
I think they're elite, yes, because
Then you can't say that you don't, because you said you're not elite if you got beat up. The Baltimore Ravens beat the Patriots down. They beat them up, yet they're still elite. So the Packers can still get beat up by a team and still be an elite football team.
Can I respond to that? First of all, we respectfully disagree, because the manner in which New England got beat up by Baltimore, to me, was a little bit different than what I saw. Because I just think it's almost the equivalent. Again, I'm not going to use a boxing analogy, but there are levels to beatdowns. And what I'm saying to you, in my opinion, I believe the beatdown incurred by the Green Bay Packers last night at the hands of the San Francisco 49ers was significant to the beatdown the Patriots have received against Baltimore. Understand where I'm coming from with this. I'm not, first of all, when I call the Packers soft, I'm not talking about their defense. I'm talking about their offense. I think their offense is soft. What I'm talking about with the New England Patriots, they're a team that's bereft of talent. There is no Gronkowski. There's just Edelman. You've got wideouts that can't get open. It's not a matter of softness with the New England Patriots. It's a matter of that guys not being able to get open with an immobile 42-year-old quarterback that's a system quarterback who throws a lot of timing passes with guys whose timing's off, they can't get open, et cetera, et cetera. Going up against a coach like John Harbaugh, okay, I think that ultimately spells doom for you, particularly when you have a Lamar Jackson. In the case of San Francisco, when I looked at San Francisco, I saw a front four, not to say that they didn't blitz from time to time, because they did. But I saw a front four that basically wiped Green Bay out, and I saw receivers incapable of getting open, and I saw a tight end in Jimmy Graham that I think we need to look at and say, what has happened to you?
Jimmy Graham ain't done anything in 3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And a coach who was not able to make adjustments. And that's why when you say there are levels to this, I think that was the real difference. LaFleur couldn't adjust. I'll give you another movie analogy, what you two are really arguing about. Remember the Titans. The title of the movie was always make sure that whether you win or lose, they always remember the day in other words, you got to leave a part of yourself with your opponent because they know you showed up and competed, right? And I understand what you guys are saying. If you're not even competing, what we see, and I bring it up with coaches like Harbaugh or whoever, they always compete. Tomlin's teams, year in and year out, they compete. But even those kind of teams can have styles matchups where they get the break speed off. That's what happened with Belichick against the Ravens. It was a bad matchup. I thought he was trying different things. They got beaten up. Same thing with the Niners with Green Bay. Bad styles matchup. It doesn't speak to the fact, Stephen, I think that the nature of the team isn't competitive. It's just a bad styles matchup, which is why if they avoid the Niners, I still see an Aaron Rodgers with a good enough defense, not always great against the run, good enough to get it done.
Before Dan comes, I only want to say this. The only reason why I say that is that it's a difference between somebody. In other words, when you get exposed as being so, if somebody is menacing and they take you out, you walk in there petrified. When you see them get blitzed, when you see them get punked, all of a sudden it elevates the level of confidence a future opponent will have coming your way because there's vulnerabilities they have noticed. What I am accusing the Packers of is being exposed to a point where other teams say, okay, we can do this.
No, because the other teams don't have the personnel that San Francisco does.
I understand
I said it, San Francisco is dragging everyone. The only loss they have is to Seattle, and that was 5 turnovers offensively.
Best team in the NFC?
Yeah.
NFL.
Best team in the NFC.
NFL.
I'm taking New England still. I'm taking a team that is historically good on defense right now. I'll take New England. They're the best team in the NFC because the Saints.
Only they have the quarterback that Belichick wanted.
And New England has the quarterback that's been proven.
Why are they the best in the NFC? Because there's a lot of good teams.
Their defensive line is dominant. Their offensive line is really good. Their run game is the best schematically in the NFL. They get chunk plays open, and that's really hard to do unless you have a freakazoid. And their secondary is very smart. The ball has to come out against them. You, as a quarterback, you can't watch the tape last night. The ball has to come out. So those guys just sit and watch the quarterback, and they go, I don't have to wait that long. So you could see where the ball's coming from. All those first-round picks that they had when they stunk, they've hit. Armstead hit. Bosa hit. Thomas hit. Armstead hit. Buckner hit.
They were hitting last night, that's for sure.
So with the Saints' injuries, and the Saints have a penalty problem right now, I would take San Francisco as the best team in the NFC. I still think Green Bay is very good, though.
NFL.
All I'm saying is you are right that teams don't have the personnel that San Francisco has. But if you show that you can be punked, which is what I saw last night, and you combine that with making Jimmy Graham beat you, okay?
Yeah.
Excuse me, that's the formula for success right now for the opposition. I think that was exposed last night.
All I'm saying is Niners-Ravens Sunday. I cannot wait
That's
for
a
that
Super Bowl
game.
preview.
That is going to be incredible. No, you had the Patriots.
I have the Patriots.